Inshallah, we'll begin in just a minute. We'll wait one more minute for the brothers and sisters who are performing their sunnah. Once again, jazakumullah khairan to everyone for their participation this evening. The purpose of a family night is not to make it an educational discussion or something that requires you to put a lot of thought into it. This is really put together for the purpose of allowing our community to better know one another, to value each other's presence, to create a more stronger bond amidst each of us so that we can truly become the community that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ wanted to see this ummah become as. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of us the best in His eyes and the best to each other. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. We will inshallah begin with Q&A. So for anyone of the sisters, the brothers, anyone who wants to ask a question. And the reason we are doing this is because we realize that everyone has questions and it is hard for everyone's question to be answered at the time that they expect it to be. The new trend has begun, and I'm not saying this with any spite or animosity, but it's Imam 1 minute, and I know that's not a minute, but I truly understand the desperation that many people have regarding certain questions, so we try our best to accommodate that. And also, just so that the community is clear and that there's transparency, we do provide on an annual basis and sometimes twice a year reports to the community as to what is happening here and why you see sometimes, or many of the times, myself and the other mashayikh run after the prayer. There are ongoing meetings, there's discussions, there are counselings, there's a lot of things that happen. But alhamdulillah, the community as a whole has been very cooperative, and mashallah, it's just been an honor to be amidst everyone for over the last year. So, that being said, if you want to text your question, the number is 469-795-1196. Again, the number is 469-795-1196. Please feel free to ask your questions, inshallah. So until the phone starts ringing, I think they are already coming in, so mashallah. I'm sorry, I have to stop my discussion right there, but we'll take questions, inshallah, and then from there we will continue forward with the small discussion that I want to have with the community tonight, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The individual saying Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I missed. Three important points. Please give some examples of best deeds to get the Azhar after death as well. Let's take the first one, inshallah. Examples of best deeds to get the Azhar after death as well. Good question. Everyone understand that question? What can I do today that it will be there for me tomorrow when I die? And so the khutbah last week was somewhat highlighting the answer to this question, which was, what are we truly doing for tomorrow, which is the Day of Judgment? This is kind of the interval from now to the Day of Judgment. Brothers and sisters in Islam, a good deed should not be confined to something that you or I categorize as religious only. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ spoke about faith, Iman, and he spoke at the variations of faith, the levels of faith. And he said that the highest level of faith is to say, what is everyone? La ilaha, let's all hear, La ilaha illallah. The highest level of faith is to attest La ilaha illallah, wa adnaha, and the lowest level of faith is what? Imatatul adha anit tariq. Subhanallah. A person who feels religion is a certain framework, a certain demographic, a certain area, this is an example that it is not as you see it. The lowest level of faith is what? To pick up dirt from the streets. To remove harmful objects from the road. This is the lowest level of faith. So what do I do that after me it will give me reward? Leave behind a legacy of good. That legacy of good can come in three ways according to what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said. Either we leave behind children that will pray for us. There is no continuity of religious actions if our children do not continue it. It's like establishing a business, spending day and night, blood and sweat, and the day you die, your children say, sell it to whoever bids for it. Your thought was, our children will benefit from this. Your children said, we don't want anything to do with this. So what will give you reward after your death? You have children that will pray for you. You leave behind knowledge. And remember, knowledge. That's not restricted to religious knowledge. Based on the context of the hadith that picking up dirt from the street is also faith. It defines the level of our faith. Leave behind knowledge that people will benefit from. And the last but not least, we talk about sadaqah jariyah. Nowadays, when someone dies, many people that are grief-stricken with this death of a family member, one of the common questions they ask is, what should I do? Should I build a masjid? Should I plant a tree? Should I build a well? Should I donate a Quran? Now I ask all of you, are these the only things we can do, or are there other things that we can do? Are these the only things you can do, or are there other things you can do? Tell me. There's so many other things we can do. Anything that will allow the creation of Allah to benefit after your demise will be a sadaqah for you until the Day of Judgment. And I thank the person who asked this question is because it will highlight the point I want to talk about, inshallah, in a few minutes, which is this sadaqah jariyah, this thing called the masjid, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll take the next question, and please, anyone want to ask a question, they can raise their hand. Yes, brother. That's a very good question. The brother is asking, some credit card companies offer cash back. Is that something halal to use? Now, and again, Mufti Wasim and I will be starting, inshallah, starting next year, a Monday Q&A session, where both fiqh and also societal issues can be asked within the framework of 20 minutes, inshallah. We're changing out the format from January, inshallah. But in respect to the fact that we are dealing with credit cards where you are using money and then you're paying it back, many credit card companies offer these perks such as 12 months no interest or cash back and so on and so forth. So long that the cash back is not intertwined with your transactions, to the extent I'm explaining this, that you are not using the card solely to get the money back. You're not taking that card to get money from them. If that's what they offer, that's fine then. Because at the end of the day, every credit card company is offering something. Points. Points equal money. They have a tangible usage for airlines, hotels, whatever else, 30,000 points, 60,000 points for a hotel, whatever the case may be. So at the end of the day, it could be considered money or it could be considered points that are used as money. So long your purpose of getting that card wasn't to obtain that cash from them and make it as a source of an income, it's fine. But we'll get Mufti Wasim looped into this too, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. It's beautiful. We'll take one question from this and one question from the audience, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Imam. As med students who are middle class, sometimes we have to take loans and there's interest on it. How do we as Muslims deal with this interest? Jazakallah khair. There was a segment on NPR radio this Wednesday, I think it was, that student loan debt has been the highest ever. It's the highest ever in our world today, in America. And including many upper-class rich families, their children are drowning in student debt. You know, sometimes, and there is organizations such as Continuous Charity that they are known to give loans Islamic Scholarship Fund or Islamic Scholarship Foundation, another organization that tries to give grants to students so that they can excel in their academia without drowning themselves in debt. But let's be realistic. We have a big student loan problem in this country. It's huge. You're going away with tens of thousands if you're, I don't say if you're lucky, but it goes as far as hundreds of thousands. And it's a concern on every parent who has children getting ready for college or university. And the problem is it involves interest. Where the Muslim community in America failed, and I'm going to go off topic here and forgive me for this, we came to this country, we did a lot of great work, mashallah. But we didn't establish two fundamental roots, which the Jews and the Christian did. Could someone tell me what those two roots are? Media and finance, okay. Education. How many of us know of Catholic schools? Everywhere you see, in Canada, when we go to high school, there's an option to go to there's a public high school, there's also the Catholic high school. And another thing the Jews have set up, like even in New York, the Mount Sinai Hospital, medical facilities. Medical facilities are not small, but they're on a large scale. So, education is something I feel that our Muslim community has really failed. Imagine we set up a scholarship fund in each community or in each state that would grant a certain amount of scholarship money allocated to students that fit a certain criteria, so that could be paid back. It becomes a continuous flow. That would be the most idealistic thing for our community. Because think about it. Instead of a person becoming an engineer, doctor, and paying, how much interest is it? I think it's 5% while you're a student, and after you graduate, it's how much? It goes, how much? How much? 8 to 10%. And I know people who are deep into their careers, and they're still paying their student debt. Imagine if that money was refunneled back into the masjid or into the institutions to help build them and strengthen them. It's a matter of perspective of where that money is going. It's going as an interest. And we don't know how that loophole is going to be tightened very soon in this country. That, of course, it's going to be forced out of your income, and we don't know what else could happen. So, when it comes to taking a student loan, if you exhaust every other method of trying to obtain funds for your education, and you fail to get it in a way which is less interest or no interest at all, then taking a student loan is permissible. And upon taking the student loan, the most important thing is to make sure that you can pay it back as soon as possible. It's easier said than done. It is very tough. But again, priorities of our community should evolve, that we understand that for our growing children that will inshallah one day be in Princeton and Harvard and Cambridge and UTD, wherever they're going to go, there's funds required for them to succeed. And that's something that we shouldn't be blindsided by. So yes, you can take those student loans, and the best thing is to pay them off as soon as possible, not because of the hurmat of interest, but because of the sanity of your own sake. You cannot sleep right when you have thousands of dollars sitting on your head and the meter doesn't move a bit. You're paying thousands down. It's not showing it's depleting. It's still gaining interest. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitate ease for all our children. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Assalamu alaikum, Imam. Who are the persons whom Allah will not see them on the Day of Judgment? There is a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad about who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not see them on the Day of Judgment. Allah will not speak with them on the Day of Judgment, and they will have painful torment. I would request the questioner to go and seek that hadith and realize that you'll be amazed when you read that hadith that it doesn't have so much to do with Allah as much as it has to do with each other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's something I want to talk about tonight, I'll loop it in because of this question. وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّنْ غِلٍّ إِخْوَانًا عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the Day of Judgment. That one of the things that Allah will have to remove even then from us, He'll have to remove, understand this, He will have to remove from our heart what is called rancor, a deep-rooted animosity and hatred towards each other. And when He removes that, إِخْوَانًا, we will become brothers. عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ, sitting on cushions facing each other. لَا يَمَسُّهُمْ فِيهَا نَصَبٌ, they will not feel any pain or discomfort at that moment. And nor will they be taken out from there. And then Allah says, نَبِّئْ عِبَادِي أَنِّي أَنَا الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Tell my servants that I am the forgiving, the merciful. وَأَنَّ عَذَابِي هُوَ الْعَذَابُ الْأَلِيمُ, and that my punishment is painful torment. One of the things that will prevent us tomorrow is the fact that we did not clean our hearts today. And that is why I presented to this community last year, around November, a 3-year strategy. And the strategy for this whole 1 year was enriching hearts. Alhamdulillah, almost every khutbah, every topic, every program that we had was honed towards that. So how could our hearts become clear of each other and full of Allah's light? If Allah is in my heart, there is no space for reservation, hatred, biases, nothing. It's only Allah. Because once we clean that heart up from each other, now we can do what inshallah next year's vision is, empowering souls. You could see a shift happening now from the khutbahs and the khatiras that we're going towards the soul. But without the heart, the soul will not be rectified or empowered. So look up that hadith inshallah, which is very important. What are the 3 steps who do wrong to us that we forget to forgive them and make our hearts clean? Number 1 is, I want to say 3 steps. Everyone may give you different steps, but if someone does you wrong, number 1, of course, is that you continue to give salam to them, you pray for them, you give sadaqah on their name, you give them a gift, and you try to work towards purifying your heart. But at the end of the day, remember, someone may do you wrong. It is you holding that animosity with you. You understand? Someone did you wrong. They may have forgotten, but you're the one walking around holding that hatred. So no one is being hurt because of this except you as the individual. So find ways. And as the khutbah today was quite complex, I wish I had more time to kind of spread it out. But realistically, the second part is the type of suspicion, doubt, suspicion, and unassurity. The suspicion that someone is doing me wrong, or someone is causing me wrong, or someone is going to ruin me. Allah already said, I'll expose them. I'll expose them at a time when their wrong is going to happen and it will not touch you. That's Allah's promise. So don't worry. If you are sprouting from that seed we talked about, know Allah will take care of things. That's Allah's way. Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected our Habib, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when a man held the sword over his head, and said, who's going to stop me now? Who's going to protect you now? And he said, Allah. Did Allah protect him, yes or no? Yes or no, brothers? Allah protected him. His hand shook, the sword fell, he sat down. This is the beauty of reliance on Allah. It's a spiritual aspect, it's a spiritual quality that can only come when our hearts allow it to channel, inshallah. A question from the audience, sorry. Yes, brother. You messaged me. Would you mind asking me now because you messaged me? Bismillah. Was it the 3 questions? Are they yours? Huh? I have not received. Oh, subhanAllah, beautiful. Question brothers asking, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala somewhere? I'm going to take your question next, inshallah, okay? Alhamdulillah. Is Allah subhanahu physically somewhere? Where is Allah? Where is Allah? Aina Allah? Where is Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere. How do you make sense of that? That Allah is everywhere. The Quran says, أَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Wherever you turn, you'll find Allah. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Not only is Allah close, Allah is intimately close with us. He's closer to us than our jugular veins. Say subhanAllah. That's how close Allah is. Allah is so close, we find from the hadith that in a dark night, in a dark mountain, under a dark stone, in a dark hand, what's in its heart, Allah hears that. How do you understand that? The best example for that was given many years ago that I heard was that there's a child, 2 children in the womb of a mother. And one is saying to the other that we will be leaving our mother soon. So this child asks the one who made the statement, who is mother, where is mother? The child responds, mother is everywhere. We are in mother. Because I don't see mother. Does the child in the womb see their mother? Yes or no? We did not remember maybe, but you don't because you are so intimately attached, you can't see mom. The other child says to him, no, we're going to leave mom, we're going to go out into this new world, and we're going to use these feet to walk and these hands to do things and this mouth to eat, and he starts laughing. He goes, what are you talking about? There's this lifeline here. Everything is good. There's no such thing as this. It was that denial. But when the child comes out screaming and the mom is crying tears of joy, the child sees the mother. The example is given about the angel of death. The angel of death was asked, how do you do this running around? There's a story about Sulaiman alayhi salam. Sulaiman alayhi salam had many students and disciples. One of his very close students one day came to his gathering and sat down and was very fidgety. He was very scared. His eyes were big. He was shaking. So he came up to Sulaiman and said, I have a problem. He said, what's wrong? He said, see that guy over there in the corner? He is looking at me with these big eyes. I don't know what he wants from me. Send me to Hind. Send me to Hind. I want to get away from here. Sulaiman alayhi salam controlled the air. He controlled everything. Allah gave him that control. Do you know why Allah gave him that control? Does anyone know why Allah gave him that control? As a prophet, he asked for it. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. Give me a kingdom no one after me will have. And Allah gave it to him. If you want to know more, come to the class here after Isha on the 3rd Friday, 2 Fridays from now. We're learning this, alhamdulillah. And so he went. He sent him. Later on, that same person who was with big eyes looking at that individual returns. And he says to Sulaiman alayhi salam that I was commanded to take the soul of this person. Who is he? The angel of death. I was commanded to take the soul of this person in a few seconds, but he's sitting here with you. and his destination was Hind. I was gobsmacked. Like, how am I supposed to take this guy's soul in Hind when he's sitting here with you? But he asked to go to Hind, and right there, the angel of death took. The angel of death can take souls all over the world in seconds. Yes or no? No one takes an extra breath or a less breath than what's allocated for them, subhanAllah. It's written in books that the angel of death describes taking the souls like a plate, a bowl of like rice in front of him, and all he's doing is plucking. That's for him. Allah is much greater. So, if we consider Allah as a physical body, we are restricting Him to time, place, and space. And that's why that image that sunk into children's heads from the childhood, that there's this big old man in the sky blowing the clouds, or there's a Father Christmas type of guy with a big white beard, and He is God. These come out as jokes, but they create this mindset in children that Allah is so small and limited. How can Allah do all this? Allah is beyond our comprehension. So it's not something that can be explained logically. It's something that can be experienced spiritually. Alhamdulillah. Yes, you had a question. Take your time, no problem. Sure, I'll give the number again. The number for texting, inshallah, we have time for a few more questions. The number is 469-795-11. 469-795-1196. So if she's upstairs listening, 469-795-1196, inshallah. 795-1196. Jazakallah khair, mashallah. Yes, brother. Beautiful question. The brother's asking, can zakat money be used for masjid construction? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran has designated the areas where zakat can be spent. إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَفِي الرِّقَابِ وَالْغَارِمِينَ وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ. 8 categories. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented this to us. The hadith and ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam expand on the practical application of this verse. But it's open for a lot of discussion. So for example, it says, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا. Zakat can be given to those who work to distribute zakat. Now what's the mindset here? The mindset is, if there are people that their full-time job is taking care of people and ensuring that they get money that they need, they will not have time to make money on their own. Right? Is everyone with me on this? Hence, they get a stipend from zakat so that they can continue to distribute zakat. But now, if we create an organization that works solely on distributing zakat, and then there is legitimizing 60 cents on the dollar for you as an income, is it haram? No. But the question is it the right thing? Is the question that's left to be answered. Right? So we have so many organizations now that want to do zakat and sadaqah and so on and so forth. Is that the correct usage of our zakat money is the question. Now when it comes to wa fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, that's also open-ended. It could mean many things. Sending someone to learn, helping establish an institution, buying books. In the absence of the necessary funds, zakat can be used. What's the purpose of zakat? I want everyone to understand this. Zakat can only be given to Muslims. Everyone knows this, right? Are we clear on this? Why are we so rigid, people may ask, that you only give money to your own people? Well, the answer is simple. Zakat is meant to empower all of us, so all of us are giving zakat. And the more we are empowered, the more we can do for the greater society. Does that make sense? If the brother, mashallah, has money, I have a problem financially. He gives his zakat this year to help me with my financial problem. Next year, he's still going to be giving zakat, inshallah, and I'll be giving zakat also. So instead of one person, now there's two of us giving. And this should multiply, and it should keep on raising itself. So zakat is meant for strengthening us so we can help strengthen the world through our sadaqah and our charities. The question has to be, what capacity? We have people from the Eastern countries that say in non-Muslim countries you could build masajid with zakat. If they truly understand the culture on the ground, a blanket fatwa is not permissible for this. If there's a town, a community, a very impoverished community, that they don't have the basic funds to establish a basic facility to pray, zakat should be used to help get them on their feet. But if a masjid has a $12 million project and saying give zakat for it, in my knowledge, in my limited understanding, it is not permissible. Because one is a necessity and one is beyond necessity. I won't say another word. And the beyond necessity isn't right. There are many masjids in America right now that are running on mortgage. We all may know of some masajid that are paying monthly mortgages because they built their institution with a mortgage, halal or otherwise. The question now becomes, do we also come and say, well, we got a debt? So technically a person who's a gharim, that means two criteria are fulfilled now. It's Allah's path and they're in debt, so you should give zakat. I feel that's a self-inflicted wound. It's a self-inflicted wound that we shouldn't become accustomed to doing, because then our money is not used to strengthen us. It's actually weakening us. So may Allah give us the wisdom for that, inshallah. Ameen. Inshallah. Other questions? Any other question here? Inshallah. I'll take one more question if I get, I don't know if there's a problem with the internet, but I'm just going to turn off my, okay, mashallah, we got a few questions. Mashallah, few interesting questions here. Assalamu alaikum. Can a husband prevent their wife from calling, visiting their parents and siblings? Brothers and sisters, marital relationships are the backbone to our families and our futures. Marital relationships should be loving and caring and understanding. Remember, there is a responsibility to the spouse, but then there's also responsibility to children. There's responsibility to parents. There's responsibility to siblings. We should never shut doors, brothers and sisters. Never shut doors. Allow those doors to stay open, but keep a balance and a healthy balance between all of them, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. What should a person do to dream of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Such a beautiful question, mashallah. Recite excessive durood upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Recite durood upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Recite durood upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And number two, admire him. And number three, try to adopt his way. To see the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your dream is the most beautiful thing you can ever see. It's a beautiful sight. And all of us should see the Prophet ﷺ before we die. Man ra'ani fil manami faqad ra'ani haqqa. Whoever sees me in a dream has seen me. This is a beautiful thing. May Allah allow us to see the Prophet ﷺ. Last question is about daily trading or holding stocks. So long that the stocks that you're investing in or trading in do not have any direct or indirect hurmah. It's not weapons, it's not arms, it's not alcohol, it's not, again, anything that's immoral, then it is permissible. It is a type of business. It has both the prospects for benefits and loss. Now, I want everyone to have their food also, and the vendors did come late. So I want to end by saying this. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah. In the capacity of a human being, there's only so much we can do. And as the servant of this community, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity to do my part in trying to bring the community together. A sign of it is this program, to have these family nights. A sign of it was our conference, alhamdulillah. A sign of it was Psyched. A sign of it was so many other programs that we started here only so that we can see a bond in our community. Because truly, Allah brought us together today so that inshallah we can stand together tomorrow. We want to stand together tomorrow. We want to cross the bridge of Sirat together tomorrow. We want to, inshallah, drink from the hands of Rasulullah together tomorrow, inshallah. So that's what we're doing. But there's only so much that can be done from one side. And alhamdulillah, the community is cooperating. I just want us to realize that time is of the essence in our world today. Time is of the essence. And we need to make a New Year's resolution. And that resolution is to be more focused on our religion, our spirituality, and our community. Because the world is changing so fast around us. And the only way for us to see through it all is our spirituality. So alhamdulillah, our education programs will start to change in the next few weeks. Our khatiras, our halaqas, our Quran recitation together, those gatherings. There's going to be a few things, inshallah, I'm going to be introducing, inshallah. But what I require from all of you is that we work together for this. A Muslim isn't supposed to be a person that lives a life of doubt and suspicion and unassurity, or a life of spite, hatred, and distance from each other, or a life that they are drowning in their own problems. Read the seerah of Rasulullah ﷺ. He had enough problems that would have submerged him and literally killed him. But he floated above it all. He actually walked on that water, the water of his problems. And he helped change humanity. Muslims are needed today to help change this world. Let me give you one example and I'll close with this. I'm studying the verses of وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةً وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ. What does this verse mean? Fight with them until there's no fitna, and that the deen becomes Allah. What does this mean? If we don't explain these verses, there are people out there that have explained it for us, that have instilled fear in our hearts, that if we say the word jihad or qital, FBI is going to be on our door. That's how scared we are. And that's what I was always saying this year. Own your religion. Write the narrative of your religion. Don't let the Islamophobes or the Islamic extremists do it. Allah is saying that if push comes to shove, despite the effort that you are making to make a society good and wholesome, that the moral deterioration continues to happen on your watch when you're responsible on a leadership level. Do you understand how many things are just presented there? Muslims were leaders. They were governing the land. And when there was continuous moral deterioration and they tried everything, now Allah commanded them to fight for it. For what? To kill the kuffar, to kill the Jews, to kill the Christians, to kill the pagans. No. To stop fitna. To stop this strife and moral deterioration within our communities. If there's a fight that we should be waging today, it's a fight we wage in ourselves. To stop being the instruments of problems. وَيَكُونُ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ does not mean that everyone becomes a Muslim. It means that the way of Allah prevails. And what is the way of Allah? Peace. What is the way of Allah? Stability. What is the way of Allah? Prosperity. What is the way of Allah? Unity. What is the way of Allah? Acceptance of differences and working together. That's the duty on Muslims. You understand where Allah's putting us? On a pedestal that we're supposed to help mold society. So inshallah, next year as we move into 2020, we are going beyond our personal issues to making our souls strong so that we can be instrumental in our community, in our masjid, in our circles, in our committees, in everything that's happening in this masjid and beyond, so that we can be instrumental in the greater society. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us everything, brothers and sisters, and for that we say Alhamdulillah. Say Alhamdulillah. And may Allah allow us to continue enriching our souls and our minds and our hearts with His nur and His light, and allow us to do what's right and what is needed in our time. May Allah allow us to restore peace in this world. Allow us to restore prosperity and stability in this world. Allow us to be instrumental in bringing forth humanity on the pedestal of respect, tolerance, and acceptance, where we as Muslims don't fight with Muslims, that we don't quarrel and debate over our differences, that we don't kill each other because of our differences or because of our cultural differences, and that we don't shun each other in society because of those differences. Rather, we see the beauty beyond those differences, and with respect and with tolerance, we embrace one another. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan to everyone. I think this is beautiful. I'm sorry I took all your time. Please go enjoy, inshallah, with your families. Have food. Subhanallah bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.